This is Belen Diez, and you're watching the E-volve show. Today we're going to be talking about how to declutter your house, your life, your mind, your work, anything, and to understand what are the things that spark joy for you. For that reason, we have brought a coach that is a specialist in the Konmari Method, and her name is Jenna Carlsson. Jenna Carlsson is a certified Konmari consultant and owner of the Joy Filter. She helps women let go of clutter, stress, and overwhelm to live lives of more organization, joy, and ease. Hi, Jenna, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
Of course, I'm great. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited to talk to you today, and I think the audience is gonna love the subject that we are bringing today. So why don't we start by telling a little bit to everybody who you are and what you do in your business?
Sure. So my name is Jenna Carlsson. My business is the Joy Filter, and I am a certified KonMari consultant, which means that I have been trained in Marie Kondo's life-changing magic of tidying up, and I help people who are feeling stress, overwhelm, clutter in their lives, their homes, their businesses, really just use the KonMari method to let go of that and find their joy and organization instead.
That is so cool. And then Jenna, how all of this happened to you? Like, how did you come up with this idea, or how were you like inspired? Like, you felt like you were like running your life like crazy and with a lot of stuff, and then one day you were like, okay, we need to reset. How was this for you in
Yeah,
your life?
really great question. So I actually have had a prior business before this business. I planned events that made a difference for nonprofit organizations, and I was really excited to start that business. I started it in 2015. I was able to grow it. I had a couple of assistants working for me. I was planning awesome events for different clients and really holding everything together to make sure that they had wonderful events that made a difference. And on the back end, though, I felt that things were getting kind of disorganized. I was feeling overwhelmed as a new entrepreneur. There's so many different things that you have to really be in charge of, so many different buckets that we need to learn, from accounting to sales to taxes to social media and all the different things in between. And so I came to KonMari as a way to help me organize the back end of my business, and realizing that also a lot of ways that I was running my business were not sparking joy for me. And I had started my business to create a life that I wanted, and yet I had let it lead me down certain paths where I was working with certain clients or people or using certain systems that were not joy sparking for me. And I used the KonMari method to really help me evaluate my business and make a plan for what could help me both have more organization in my business, but also more joy.
Oh, that's so cool. And I think it's like so needed too, because nowadays I feel like we're all day like running businesses, or like even like if you're at home mom or anybody like who is working in a company, like you are like just running your life, and sometimes you don't really stop and think, is this joyful? So you mentioned you use the KonMari method. I know what it is because I read Marie Kondo's book and I love it, but do you want to explain a little bit about who Marie Kondo is and the KonMari method?
Yeah, so Marie Kondo is a Japanese organizer, and she invented this method that she called after her name, the KonMari method. And it's basically a way of not just decluttering and organizing, but also choosing the things that we want in our lives. And so she wrote a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up that sold over 11 million copies in so many different languages across the world. She also has a Netflix show, which is really fun. You can watch if you haven't seen it. It's called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, to learn a little bit more about her and the method. But some of the key tenets of the method are: the first thing is that we choose things to keep, not things to discard. And so that's really different from how we normally look in our homes and our lives, to think of like, maybe what can I pull out, what can I donate? But actually in the Marie Kondo method, it's the opposite. You pull everything out, but then you decide the things that you want to keep in your life. And so it's a really different way of seeing our homes, our spaces, and the things that we want. And the other thing that's different about Marie Kondo's method is that we go by category and not by location. So we go from clothes, and then we work on books, and then papers, finally kimono, which is miscellaneous, and then sentimental. And we go in that order because it's easier to start with clothes and make decisions on things that we wear every day versus on something that's sentimental that might be really hard to make the decision. And so that's a really different way of organizing, is looking at things by category and looking at all the things that we have in that category, like all of our clothes. That's a tenet of the Marie Kondo method that people get scared of a lot, is like you take out all of your clothes at the same time. And then we also have to confront what we have. We have to like see, oh, these are all the things I have. Maybe they were hidden in different places, but now I can see, oh, I have enough of these, but I don't have enough of this, or these things make me happy, but these things don't. It just really helps us to look at it all together. And then we just go category by category and make decisions. And as we go through that, we find that not only do we have more organized lives, but we're letting go of the things that don't spark joy for us anymore, things that we felt like we should keep or things that we should do, and we're letting them go. And so we're creating more space for the joyful life that we actually want to live.
Totally. That's so cool. And I remember reading the book, something that it was very interesting for me, like how like when people give you presents but maybe you're not wearing it, like just to get rid of it, don't be like guilty or anything like that. And I felt it was like so brilliant, because sometimes like I will keep things on the closet just because it was a present, you know, and you don't want to get rid of that. So I think it's so brilliant, because this KonMari method, it started like a tidying up your house, but it's actually like you can actually use this for your life, for your business. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that too?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing that we do in the KonMari method is we set a vision for what we want our ideal lifestyle to be like. And I always tell people there's really no point in putting everything in pretty boxes if your life vision is to sell all your stuff and take off in a van, travel across the country. You know, whatever it is, we get to create it. And so creating a vision that is really true and important to us is the first step. And then we make the decisions based on that vision. So as we're evaluating our clothes, our books, our papers, everything, we do so with that vision in mind. But I think really the thing that we learn along the way is that the KonMari method, it's a practice. It's a practice of hearing our intuition, because we make decisions based on what sparks joy. We hold up an item and see, like, does this item spark joy for me? How does my body feel holding it? What do I feel like? And sometimes we're not used to hearing our intuition, so we might not be sure about that. So as we practice that on the little things, like an item of clothing, then we can also practice it on the bigger things, like a client or a business or a job or a relationship. And so it's something that we grow attuned to, using that skill of hearing and following our intuition.
Yeah, it's so good. And then I was reading on your website too, like we really don't think about these things, but you were saying like also like people in your life, like does these people around me spark joy? Like I'm enjoying their company? Because if not, move on. Like
yeah, we get to change it.
You need to change it. And sometimes it's like you assume like because that you have been friends forever or whatever, like I'm not saying like being mean to them, but sometimes friendship have a period of time. And I don't know, like I think it's just great, like with a job, like is this job bringing me joy? Like should I be looking for something else? Because sometimes also we're scared to change it, but we are stuck in something that it doesn't make us happy, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. I think it can be really scary to let go, and that's part of why we practice with the small things and letting go of small things before letting go of a big thing. But I think one thing that I really like from the KonMari method is that we ask if it sparks joy, and then if the answer is yes, we keep it with confidence. It doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks. And if no, we let it go, but we thank it. And I think sometimes we get caught up with things that did serve a purpose in our life, like maybe a relationship, a friendship, a job, it really did serve a purpose in a certain phase of our life, and we can still thank it for that. It doesn't mean that we currently need to keep it. And that was a really big distinction that I learned also, because I have a tendency to really want to hold on to things. I had a client that I was doing an event for and a huge project for that they were wonderful human beings. I loved the work they were doing, but the role had become really unwieldy and I was feeling like it wasn't sparking joy anymore. And I made the really difficult decision of letting it go and not knowing what it would be for me financially. That was before I started my KonMari business. And I think I did the work of helping them to transition it so they could work with somebody that now it did spark more joy for someone else in that role. And I think that we left on really good terms, and to be able to say like, thank you, this really helped me. And I was also really able to help them during this period. And now the role has changed and I can move on to something else, and so can they. And I think, yeah, it's definitely a practice. It's hard for me too, but as I've done it more and more, like in that example, I had a really awesome experience of the day after I let go of that client, the KonMari consultant training became available. I had been on the wait list and I was waiting for months, and I made like the really scary move of letting go of that client. And the next day the training came available and I signed up. So sometimes magical things like that can happen when we're willing to take the risk and let go.
Wow, that's awesome. And then I was gonna say also, like, it's so great that people like you actually are trained and are supporting other people through this process, because it's what you say, it's a scary thing. So if you're gonna, like, don't do it alone. There is people who have like training and experience and can walk you with you and support you. So I think that's like a wonderful job that you do, supporting others going through that.
Yeah, it's my favorite part of the job, really, is because they're on their own journeys and I'm able to be supportive to them on their journeys, guide them through the KonMari method so they know what to do first and what to do second, but they're making the decisions based on their intuition. But sometimes we don't know what the process looks like, and having someone to really guide us and keep us motivated through that container can be really, really beneficial.
Totally. So what are some things that you see in your clients that you're kind of like, oh, that's a pattern, or like a lot of my clients do this, or a lot of my clients struggle with that? What are some things that you see that are common for women?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say most of my clients come to me because they're feeling totally overwhelmed. And it's not just about the stuff in their house. It also is that, but it's sometimes like we've added so many things in our calendar, so many projects, so many things that we felt we should do. We may have said yes to things that we felt we should do, but not the things that we really want to do for ourselves. So as a result, we may have been committed to so many different things, and we haven't had the time and space to even think about like, okay, how can I organize my stuff in my home? So a lot of my clients come to me stressed, they come to me overwhelmed, they say they don't have the time. And organizing or the home is just one more thing. Maybe they have young kids. I work with moms that have young kids. I have worked with single divorced women that have older kids. Yeah, people who are partnered or who are single, in all different situations. But the key is feeling overwhelmed, and also sometimes this delayed decision making where we're like, I don't know what to do about that, like let me just think about it later. And then that adds up. You know, when we get older, I have clients who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and then I have clients in their 60s and 70s. And those clients, like if you think about all the years of delayed decision making, we have all these projects or sentimental items and things that we've accumulated over the years. And so it really just becomes more and more overwhelming if we don't take action on it sooner.
Totally. So what would be like, I'm saying, thinking like, so all this method and your work is about like decluttering, organizing, but not just the house, organizing your life, like kind of like making more like simple or less overwhelmed, right? So what would be some tips or things that people who are watching today could start working on, like moving, like learning about something, or like how can they start into this process?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think the key way to start is really start with your vision. I know a lot of people are like, I want to start organizing that drawer, and that helps also. But like, start with a vision. Just take even 10 minutes to think about what do you want your ideal life to be like? What's really important to you? And then use that vision to ground you as you're making decisions. So make your vision and then decide if you want to commit to the KonMari method. The KonMari method is definitely different. It's not just organizing like a location of your home and I'm going to organize the kitchen and then the bathroom. It's really going through all the categories. But because of the way that it's structured, there's a beginning and there's an end. So if you do decide to go through the KonMari method, you will hit the end. Like you will end up touching every item that you own, which is a big undertaking, but then you will change your life in your home so drastically that the idea is that you'll never have to do it in such a big way ever again. So if you're really like, I want to do this, I want to go all in, like make your vision and make a commitment to the KonMari method. And if you do want to start with that, then start with clothes. That's the first category and the best way to get started. And I actually do these really fun group organizing parties once a month where people can come and check out the first one for free. I'm going to share a coupon code for that later. And that way they can come and get a little motivation and support and get it on the calendar. Because I think the key thing is there's so many different things in our life. So we always put it off to the last minute, or maybe other things come up that are more urgencies or emergencies. And so getting it there on your calendar and being accountable to showing up for someone else to get 2 hours of organizing done, like one time, you'll be amazed at how much you can get done when you really just set that time and you have a cheerleader there and know other people that are also working at the same time on Zoom in their homes on a project that's important to them. So that's a really great and fun way to get started. If you're feeling stuck, if you're not even sure where to start, you can come to one of those parties.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's like you have a coupon for all of us because I'm going to sign in.
Yes, yeah, they're every second Saturday, and you can use coupon code GUEST to get a free first session and check it out. And yeah, they're really fun, really productive. You can get a lot done with them.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have all that information in there. And then you mentioned like you start with the clothes because you are not that attached to clothes. It's kind of like that's like why you start kind of like simple to then go into.
Yeah, the harder things. Yeah, I mean, Marie Kondo's philosophy on clothes being easier is that we wear them close to our heart. And so we're used to feeling how we feel about them. I also think because clothes come in and out of our lives more frequently, maybe it gets a hole, or maybe we buy something new, maybe we change sizes. And so we're used to clothes going in and out more. It's also like, if we go through to sentimental things, they become really one of a kind things that, like, if you got rid of a book that you ended up wanting again later, you could repurchase it easily. But sentimental things are more difficult. And so we definitely start with clothes because it's the easiest. And in order to do clothes, like I was sharing, we do take all the clothes out and look at them all together, because sometimes we might have this idea of like, well, I think I should really keep these black leggings because I need black leggings. And then you see, oh, actually I have all these 4 other black leggings that I like and I wear all the time. I don't need to keep this pair that I don't like as much, or it's itchy, or you can cross compare. And so it's definitely an undertaking, but it's fun. You get to take everything out and like go through it one by one. And when you choose the things that you like and you put those back and you look at your closet, you'll see how much differently what you feel about it, and you'll want to maintain it. And that's the other thing that's different about KonMari, is that because you make such a drastic change, it changes your behavior, and you want to put things back in their homes. You want to like not bring in new things that don't spark joy, because you've put so much work into it and because you love how it feels to be surrounded by things that do give you joy.
Yeah, that's so cool, because I was like, when I was reading your website, then I went to grab like a coffee, and then I was thinking like, oh, my cup is like so cute. And it's true, like it's just the little things, but I remember like before I have like all kind of cups, like colors, glasses, all kind of things. Like I was like, this looks like a student house, like I have all kind of stuff. But then I was like, well, like I'm gonna just buy like a set of cups so they're all matching. And it sounds silly, but I love it. And every time that I see them, it's like, it looks so nice.
Yeah, I think, it's really not about the quantity of things that we have so much as having the right things that we like and that we use. And when we have the things that we love, then we don't feel a scarcity. And that's another thing that's really cool that shifts. I have clients that start thinking, maybe I don't have money for this, I shouldn't let it go, I'm not sure. And there's a scarcity mentality. And once they see all the things that they have in the same place, they realize, oh, actually I have exactly what I need, or I have more than enough, and I could share these with people that maybe don't have it and they need them. And so it kind of changes our view on money and scarcity and sufficiency as well.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think it's so important, like what we say, like I feel like when we are not organized or when we have like a clutter house or mind or anything, just life is the more difficult. Like you don't feel like as happy as you could. Like I feel like when you, like if you have your calendar organized or like things, you feel like you're more in control than like trying to figure out things all day, like running like crazy.
Yeah, that's actually, I was just thinking of, I did a couple in-person sessions lately, and that was exactly what one of the clients said at the end. She said, I feel so in control of my life now. It's a big switch. And I worked with another client yesterday, and we cleared so much room in her space where she felt everything was out and it's just overwhelming. And so when you have a lot going on, maybe you have a lot of inner chaos, or there's just so many things we live with on a day-to-day basis, to have the outer chaos as well, it's like you don't have a place to really think. So being able to like clear that and not bring more chaos to your mind just by your surroundings, it can really help significantly.
Well, yeah, it's so true. So, Jenna, do you want to tell us to wrap up with a conversation about your services? So, if people that you guys that are watching, like if you're interested to talk to Jenna or like come to their sessions, like how can people find you and what are your services?
Yeah, thank you. So I have 3 ways I work with people. I do in-person sessions for people in the San Francisco Bay Area, and maybe hopefully in the future I'll travel for those as well. That would be amazing once things open up a little more. I do virtual programs, so I will work with people and do 2 sessions a month of connecting with them virtually, making an individual action plan for them of, okay, we're talking about the larger Konmari method. How do we do this over the next 2 weeks? What's your action plan for 2 weeks? And so I'll really coach them individually on, here's your first steps, here's your second steps. We'll touch base in another 2 weeks, and then we'll see where you're at. And so I do a lot of individual personalized coaching services, and that really helps for people who are ready to take the step on their own, but just need more guidance and support along the process. And then I have a really fun membership that I just launched, and that is the group organizing parties. And so it basically consists of 1 group organizing party a month. There's every second Saturday, and also some Q&A calls beforehand, afterwards. There's a Facebook group. There's a bunch of videos you can watch on your own time for people who are like, I just want to get this started, see how it goes, and make a little progress in community together. I found that, when the pandemic hit, and it wasn't as possible to do in-person sessions, but people were at home really surrounded by their stuff. People wanted a different way to work with people, with consultants. And so I set up both the private coaching where I check in with you individually, and these group organizing parties, because they're really fun. Like, people get motivated by coming there and seeing others and being like, okay, this is my plan for these 2 hours, let's do it. I did a dance break the last time, we put on some music. So we try to make it fun. And yeah, so that's my new membership. And yeah, members of your community are welcome to come check out one of the organizing parties for free, the first one, and then see if they're interested in continuing or not.
Awesome. It sounds so much fun, and just I love it. So Jenna, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it was super valuable and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having me, and for everyone who's interested, who's thinking about wanting to make a change but not sure, just do it. Just come to an organizing party. Don't delay anymore. You will feel so much better afterwards. You will feel relieved, you will feel motivated, you'll feel excited, and it feels so much better on the other side. So come on over.